Okay, now on the screen you can see the how this design of machine elements will fit in the continuum mechanics. See, continuum mechanics is a broad area which deals with the mechanics, okay, and it is subdivided into solid mechanics and fluid mechanics, and solid mechanics is further divided into the theory of elasticity and theory of plasticity, okay, and this design of machine elements will come under theory of elasticity, okay. So design of machine elements will come under theory of elasticity. So now, before going into the design of machine elements, we need to understand what is a safe design. What is a safe design? When can you say a component is safe? Can anyone answer this question? When can you say a component is safe? It may be a shaft or a gear or any mechanical component. When can we say it is a safe? Can anyone answer this?
When we can be sure that the design won't fail during its operation or doesn't cause any harm to the operator.
Okay, what do you mean by failure here? This is one of a good question. What is failure?
Either a fracture in the material,
Okay,
damage.
fracture. Hmm.
Component wears out.
Okay. Then what do you mean by elastic limit?
Limit until which Hooke's law is valid.
Until Hooke's law is valid. Okay, what do you mean by Hooke's law?
The stress is directly proportional to the strain in the material.
Okay, stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay. So what happens to the deformation within the elastic limit?
Sir, there
The
is no
material will be able to gain
deformation.
its original shape.
Okay, so within the elastic limit, so within this elastic limit, the component or the material will regain its shape and size upon the removal of load, right?
Yes, sir.
So when can we say a component has got failed?
When it does not regain its shape or size once the load is removed.
So the meaning is if it is deformed in a plastic region.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so deformation beyond the elastic limit. Right? If the deformation is beyond the elastic limit, then we will say the component has failed. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us consider a case that is turning operation using lathe. Now in this case, we will be having a rod, that is the workpiece, and we will be having a tool, right? Now this tool will be pressed against the rotating workpiece so that the material will get removed from the workpiece, right?
Yes, sir.
So now here, what is the deformation? Whether it is within the elastic limit or beyond the elastic limit.
Within the elastic limit.
See, if the deformation is within the elastic limit, then the material removal will not happen. Right?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes.
so in case of turning operation, the working stress must be greater than the elastic limit, right?
Yes, sir.
Whereas you consider a shaft, which is suppose which is used to support a load. Okay, so there will be a bearing here. Okay, this is the bearing, and it has to support some load. Okay, now if this is case 2. Okay, if the deformation of the shaft, if deformation of the shaft is beyond the elastic limit, we can say the shaft has failed, right?
Yes, sir.
So in this case, the working stress must be less than the elastic limit. Whereas in case 1, working stress or the stress created or the stress created due to the load applied on the shaft must be greater than the elastic limit, then only the turning will happen, and that was considered as a success. It is not a failure. Whereas in the second case, if the working stress is more than the elastic limit or the limiting value, then the deformation will happen beyond the elastic limit. Then we will say it is a failure. Okay? Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So now, based on the purpose, we will say whether it is successful or failure. And this design of machine elements will come under theory of elasticity. Okay, that is case 2. And theory of plasticity is nothing but case 1. Okay, theory of plasticity will deals with the deformation of the components beyond the elastic limit, that is in plastic region. Whereas case 2, that is theory of elasticity, which deals with the deformation within the elastic limit. Okay, so this theory of plasticity is also called as metal cutting. Theory of metal cutting. Okay, so now in design of machine elements, we deal with the deformation within the elastic limit. So if the deformations are within the elastic limit, then we can say the design is safe. Is it clear? Any doubt so far?
No.
No doubt? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, now how to design a mechanical element or a machine element. How to design? What are the things we need to design a component? Let's assume that you are required to design a shaft.
First is
Okay.
material, sir.
Okay, so how to design the shaft? What are the things you need before the start of design?
To choose a material.
Choose the material, okay? Then,
Understand the load, how much is going to act on the shaft.
okay, loads on the shaft.
Taking all mechanical properties into consideration like wear and tear, corrosion.
That comes under material. If you
Okay,
choose
sir.
the material, then it will have the corresponding properties.
Aesthetics of the material. How is it gonna look?
Aesthetics will not come under machine design. That is the aesthetics will not come at the first place. It will come at the last.
So the
Because
dimensions
aesthetics will
of the part that we want to use.
okay, dimensions. And then so these are the three, and one more is our working environment. Okay. So these are the parameters you need to consider for the design of shaft. Okay. So now, if you are asked to design a shaft which is required to support an axial load of say 10 kilonewton. So you need to design a shaft which is required to support a 10 kilonewton load. Now, how will you design it? What do you mean by design here? First, what do you need to do? What you are required to do here? Any answer? See, this is the answer. Because you know the load, so you need to suggest the suitable dimension and a suitable material. That is known as design. So you are required to suggest the diameter of the shaft, so that you need to suggest the suitable diameter of the shaft and material, so that the shaft will not deform beyond the elastic limit. That is diameter and material. So you need to suggest this. Or finally, you need to suggest the diameter itself, the diameter of the shaft and the material which is made of. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
I think you still have some doubts. Okay, let us go further. You will understand it better. See, now you need to design a shaft which is required to carry an axial load of 10 kilonewton. Okay, so now we need to fix the diameter and we need to fix the material. If I say if you made this shaft of say 20 mm diameter with mild steel, then it can take a load of 10 kilonewton. So the shaft will not fail at all. Okay, so like that I need to suggest something. So how to suggest? How to choose the material, or how to choose the diameter? How to do it? How can we do it?
By using ANSYS software.
By using ANSYS software. Any other answer?
Analysis by any previous experiments.
Any other answer?
Sir, we assume a particular diameter and calculate the stress.
Okay. Okay. Method 1. Assume a diameter and calculate
The stress on the rod.
stress developed or applied.
Developed, sir.
Stress developed. Okay. Now you suggest some diameter.
Sir, 40 mm.
Okay, 40 mm. Okay, then how to find out the stress?
So we also need to consider the material used.
No. Okay, material. Okay, what is a material?
Steel.
Steel. Okay, then okay, what next?
What is the force gonna act?
Force is given in the question itself, say 10 kilonewton. It is required to support a load of 10 kilonewton.
That's all, sir. Force by area.
So sigma is force by area. Okay, so force is 10 kilonewton and area is pi d to the power of 4 by, sorry, pi d square by 4. So pi into 40 square by 4. So what is the answer?
One two 56.63.
What is the unit?
That's the area, sir. Sorry, 1 minute.
Okay, this is area. Okay. Stress.
7.95 kilonewton per millimeter. Newton per millimeter square.
Newton per
Millimeter square.
millimeter square. Okay, then. What next? See, this is one of the important and interesting thing in machine design. This is one of the very basic knowledge you should have. So what next?
We got to know the stress which is going to act on the material, and now we have to choose the materials.
Okay, now
By
based on our assumption that is diameter D is 40 mm, we came to know that the actual stress developed in the shaft is 7.95 Newton per millimeter square. Okay, now we need to choose the material which have the elastic limit which is which is greater than 7.95 Newton per millimeter square. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Or because we have assumed the material here steel, or we need to check whether the elastic limit of steel is greater than 7.95 Newton per mm square. Right?
Yes, sir.
So there are two ways. If I have assumed the material, then I need to check it. Otherwise, I need to choose a suitable material. And from where we will get this material data?
UTM.
UTM. So based on the previous experiments conducted so far, people have tabulated the data and that is available in design data handbook. Okay, so the design data handbook contains the material properties and equations, so many things. Okay, so this is one method. Assume the diameter, calculate the stress developed, and then choose the suitable material. Or choose the material and then find out the diameter. We have assumed the diameter and calculated the stress developed, and we have checked it whether the induced stress or stress developed in the material is within the elastic limit or not. Okay, this is one method. And second method is choose the material and find the diameter. Okay, this is the second method. So if I choose the material, then I'll be knowing the elastic limit of that particular material. Okay, so we can get the value of sigma from the design data handbook. So from design data handbook, we can get sigma. So now again using the equation sigma is equal to F by A. So here sigma is known because of the material we have already chosen, and F is also known because it is given in the question, and the only unknown is, what is
Diameter.
unknown here?
Diameter.
The only unknown is diameter D, so we can find out it, right?
Yes,
Is it clear?
yes, sir.
Have you understood both the methods? The first method is assume the diameter, calculate the stress, and check whether the stress developed is within the limits or not. That is the first method. Second method is assume the material and then find the diameter. Okay. Any doubt? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Now, can you name some of the salient points in this stress strain curve? What is this? What is this point called as?
Elastic limit.
Functionality limit.
Elastic limit.
Actually, it is upper elastic limit, right?
Yes, sir.
Upper elastic limit, and this is the lower elastic limit. Upper elastic limit, or it is also known as sigma y. So the meaning is from this point the yielding will start. So from this point the yielding will start. Okay, and what is this point?
Breaking.
Breaking. And what is this?
High ultimate stress.
So sigma u. Okay, now by using UTM like machines, people have conducted so many experiments and they have given all these data for various materials and various composition also. Okay, now if I have chosen the first method or second method, that is not a problem, but assume that we have chosen the second method to find out the diameter. Okay, now here, what is the value of sigma I should use? We have chosen the material and we are about to find the diameter. Okay, now from design data handbook, I need to get the value of sigma. But if I look into this stress strain curve, I have various values of sigma. I have sigma y, sigma u, and sigma breaking. So which I need to choose?
Upper elastic limit.
Upper elastic limit. Okay, now if I have chosen this upper elastic limit as the value of sigma, then if a very small increment in the load, that is, if F is instead of 10 kilonewton, if it is 10.1 kilonewton, instead of 10 kilonewton, if the load is increased by 0.1 kilonewton, say that is 0.1 kilonewton is 100 Newton. 100 Newton is nothing but 10 kg, approximately 10 kg. So if there is a very slight increase in the load, what happens to the stress developed in the component?
Increases.
It increases, and what will be the value of stress? It will go beyond the elastic limit, right?
Yes, sir.
So I cannot choose sigma y as sigma here, that is as a parameter to find out the diameter, right?
Yes, sir.
And the data from the experiments are from the are obtained with the laboratory environment, not with the working environment, right?
Yes, sir.
And always there will be some uncertainty in the working environment. There may be slight increase in the load or slight increase in the temperature, or the material may not be uniform. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಶಾಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಶಾಫ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್, ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲೋ ಹೋಲ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಾಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ irregularities. Right? There will be so many uncertainties. So to account for all those uncertainties, people have introduced a factor called as factor of safety. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So to account for all those uncertainty, people have derived a factor which is called as factor of safety. So by using this factor of safety, we will obtain sigma allowable or sigma working. That is allowable stress. Allowable stress means the stress in the component it can reach up to this value. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So based on the material, whether it is ductile or brittle, and based on some other parameters, we can choose the factor of safety. Say if the factor of safety is 3, assume that if the factor of safety is 3, that is if FOS is 3 and sigma y is say 400 megapascal, then sigma allowable is sigma y by factor of safety. So that is, say this is 300. Okay, let's assume it as 300. So 300 by 3 is 100 megapascal. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So now, though the chosen material has got a yield stress of 300 megapascal, we have used a factor of safety of 3 so that the allowable stress has come to 100 megapascal. Now I have to use this 100 here. Okay, so I have to use 100 megapascal here, and then I have to find out the diameter. Then the shaft will sustain the 10 kilonewton load, and it will sustain a slight variation in the load and variation in the working environment. Any doubt? Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
And this graph, the stress strain curve, is for a ductile material, right?
Yes, sir.
If you go for a brittle material, it will not give you a visible yield point. It will not give you a visible yield point. You'll get sigma u and sigma breaking. So if the material is brittle, then I have to use sigma u. So for brittle, sigma u, and for ductile, sigma y. But sigma allowable is sigma y by factor of safety for ductile material, and sigma allowable is sigma u by factor of safety for brittle material. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So now in this class, you have understood where the design of machine elements will fit in the subject, and what do you mean by safe design, and when do we call a component as a failure or failed. And we have discussed two cases. That is one is the plastic region. The working stress will be in the plastic region, and one more case where the working stress will be in the elastic region. So when do we call it as a success or failure? And then we have designed a component. We have you have studied about the procedure to design the component. So we need to consider load, dimensions, material, and environment. And you have studied about two methods. And then you studied about the factor of safety and use of it. Okay. Okay. Let's meet in the next class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.